Welcome back to We Won't Finish This Podcast for part 2 of what I am calling the Cryptid.
Didn't we have another one about Sasquatch or something?
What's that?
There was some kind of Brangelina Sasquatch.
Cabbage Squatch?
Cabbage Squatch.
Yeah, this is episode 2 of Cabbage Squatch.
So it's debatable what the title will be, but anyways, continue.
Yeah, welcome to We Won't Finish This Podcast, where we pitch movies to each other that we'll never make. I'm Spaceman.
I'm Zeebs.
Savage.
All right, and this again is part 2 of The Cryptid. And as a quick recap, our main character has essentially gone from the pinnacle of the Bigfoot cryptozoology career to faking an incident on Netflix and
faking proof of Bigfoot on Netflix
and becoming what my favorite term is right now, a disgraced cryptozoologist. And then, you know what? He just...
As if there's any grace.
Exactly.
Cryptozoologist.
Then he starts up a new podcast. Something happens. He starts gaining popularity again. He gets noticed, and he gets an invitation to the World Cryptozoology Summit to speak on Bigfoot.
So he's been on the plane, and it seems that everybody's video library from their personal screen is personally tailored. They've somehow done musical chairs on the plane, which I don't think anyone will allow. I don't care how accredited of a cryptozoologist you are. But yeah, so that seems to be where we left off.
They're flying to the conference in Bermuda and flying into turbulence. They've recently gone into they've realized is the Bermuda Triangle.
They're flying into the Bermuda Triangle, and they've realized they never questioned who paid for this trip.
Yeah, we don't know who our host is. Nobody's prepared, because obviously.
Yes.
But that's where we left him. We blacked out on this turbulence, and we're going to pick right up after our promotion here.
Yes. I just want to remind everybody you can listen on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Music, and basically anywhere you get podcasts. Watch our live streams on Twitch and YouTube, and you can hang out in the chat. Hello if you're here right now. And you can actually submit, comment any ideas you have for the movie that we're writing in real time. And we can see your comments, we'll read your name, we'll give you credit, and you could totally change the trajectory of this thing. Please check us out on social media. We're on most platforms, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter. That's the best way to find out when we'll be recording our next live stream if you want to get in here. And you can find all those links at linktree/WWFTpod. And I just want to remind everybody, and actually kind of beg, if you are watching or listening, wherever that is, please like, subscribe, comment, review, share it. Sharing would be the best, to be honest with you. You got somebody else you think might be into this. And that's the end of my spiel, linktree/WWFTpod.
It's Spaceman's pitch here, and we do not know where this is going. We're excited to hear part 2 of the adventure.
He's the only
if you're just tuning in, you're going to want to hear part 1, but... we gave you a quick recap there of...
Yeah, you're caught up. We gave you the clip notes.
Yeah, if you haven't listened to part 1, please click on...
Yeah, you're going to need it.
Description.
So, now where we left off, just quickly, we had, why are you standing up? Why is your GPS on? You did this. And then blackout.
So
and
the whole,
you did this.
Power goes out in the plane is what you're saying.
Well,
the movie just black screen.
Yeah, oh yeah, black screen, exactly. Like
dramatic.
Our lead character... Jerry Henderson.
Yep, Jerry Henderson.
He is discovering more and more that something is weird with this plane, and then the turbulence starts happening. He gets blamed for that, for being...
I think it's more of
flying
like a panic scenario.
Everybody's
panicked.
You did this.
And you got to understand the people on this plane. They're all very conspiracy-minded, so as soon as something...
They're flying to Bermuda. Like, you have to see this coming, though, right?
They blame malice before incompetence.
Okay.
But I have a feeling in this situation, they're right.
Yeah. Yeah, so basically, we have this, they're all shouting at each other, let's be real here. What kind of person would get up and turn on their phone and get GPS going when your plane's having turbulence? I feel like that's the golden rule of flying is you don't do that.
Airplane mode. We needed the less phones on as possible.
It's like, he didn't pay for the Wi-Fi. I saw it. He declined. But anyways.
So Wi-Fi is bullshit anyway.
It is.
So it's not worth it. Just see.
But he
bring a book.
Passes out, and then we're going to start Act 2 here. Welcome to the Cryptid. Jerry awakens in a strange room. He immediately checks himself over, finds no harm has come to him. Doesn't seem to have a scratch nor a bruise, nothing from the massive turbulence. That's where he last was.
So the plane's still in flight.
No, he is in a very, very lavish room at the Cryptid. He's in his hotel room, and like you've got to imagine, like they have gone all out with these rooms here. Now it's themed. It's called the Cryptid.
So he blacked out on an airplane during turbulence and woke up in a lavish hotel room.
Yes, he did.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's jarring.
Exactly. You know, one thing he notices when he gets up and you go kind of make sure he's all healthy, and he's like, wait a minute, I'm in a really nice suit. Like, I wasn't wearing a really nice suit. Now, if you just woke up in a really nice suit, I would probably be happy about the really nice suit. However, he notices that his underwear has also been changed. So he was like, that kind of ruins the suit.
I'll be honest with you. Even if a stranger didn't change my underwear, I'd be very weirded out.
Just waking up in a place where you're not immediately like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Waking up in new clothes
I
is
don't like that.
pretty upsetting.
Right. I was on a plane.
I don't care what the clothes are. I would now wake up and be like, this is a great jacket. I'd be like, who changed me?
Yeah, I was on a plane. I passed out. I woke up in this room in a really nice suit. But in between those things, I was naked for some reason. And I don't like that.
But you seem to imply that Jerry was pumped about the new suit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's so...
He woke up and
Great
he went,
suit.
"Huh?"
This is a great suit.
Ah. Okay.
Yeah, he's like, all right, like, you know what? I'm not happy about the nudity, but I am happy about the suit. Now,
Yeah, I'm having a hard time making a connection with Jerry.
yeah, I
found the silver lining,
He's not
and
the
it's in the-
protagonist.
This 2-button jacket.
Yeah, it maybe has like tails on it. He's like, it's just all out. But is there any other things that maybe he could have gained while unconscious?
A top hat.
I feel like a parrot, like an exotic bird.
He's got
Yeah.
an exotic bird as a friend now.
A falconry glove.
There we go. So he's got a top hat and a falcon. He just wakes up. He's got like, it's like roosting. Is that what it is? I don't know.
Whoa.
He just woke up and goes, well, this is pretty good. Like from his turbulence nap.
I don't
just like-
appreciate I was naked, but I like the rest of it.
I've somehow leveled up during
I feel
that
like he's woken up in like the way that he would want to be dressed, the way that like with all
Yeah.
the stuff that he wished that he had.
Just like the video
Got the
library.
parrot.
Yeah.
Personally tailored. I always wanted a
Got
falcon,
the suit.
and I always thought that I could really work a tuxedo.
Yeah. So he just wakes up in this nice suit. Like I said, he's not thrilled about anything in between, but you know what? He's like, okay, I'm like
At least
super
he survived
confused.
the plane crash.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, I'm
So he
super
thinks.
confused. What's that? Go ahead.
Like, did he actually survive like the plane crash? What happened?
Or is this heaven?
Yeah.
Waking up in a
It's not
tuxedo with a
crash.
falcon.
Maybe there was just some turbulence, but they flew through it. They were able to land okay.
Yeah. So for the sake of this story, we're going to say it's not heaven. Like, this is all real. You know, like
I didn't think it was heaven. I thought this
Yeah.
was a very strange situation to find yourself in.
So-
This would be a very confusing heaven.
Yeah. Yes.
To get out there and just be like, that's a tux and a falcon? Like, this is it? This is the dream?
Awesome.
But yeah, I see him. He gets up. He starts to explore the room. You know, because it's lavish, super ornate. But you know, so with it being the Cryptid, you got to imagine like the nicest hotels you can think of. But like so let's just say in the wallpaper they have like monster stuff like kind of worked into it, like subtle. You know what I mean? It's like it's to that point.
I saw that on mushrooms
Square
one time.
notes.
I saw a wallpaper pattern turn into a witch's face. It was terrifying. It swam towards me.
But yeah, there's stuff everywhere. Like monster statues are all over the place. Paintings, like you know, they're everywhere. And of course, he's got the Bigfoot themed room because clearly,
Sure.
you know, and like what might he have for theming in there? You know, excuse me,
I feel like picture a bearskin rub, but
like a Bigfoot skin rug.
Picture a
fireplace.
picture a couch and a comforter on your bed just covered in dog hair.
I don't know why I see like a chair, but like a very like rigid chair, but it's just like Bigfoot. There's the position.
There's a gift out, and it's a poorly piece of whittled wood.
Yeah, it's just a chair where you're sitting on Bigfoot's lap.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's just stiff, just sitting there. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, so he's just walking around the room. He's checking this out because I mean, like obviously, you know, you would like you just woke up in this room. You have no idea where you are. You're in this nice suit.
And there's all this
you're not happy.
There's all this cool fucking Bigfoot shit around.
Yeah, like
You're gonna check it out.
Oh yeah.
especially this guy. I mean, like come on,
Yeah.
he's gonna get up. He lets us see all these paintings.
Everything's tailor made, just like in the planes.
Yeah.
This seems a little too. We still don't know who paid for
So
the
like,
trip.
his office
Exactly.
back at home it had all the Bigfoot memorabilia and stuff, but we talked about like maybe a lot of it was like, stuff that was poorly faked, not real, but this stuff was legit.
I like that. I like that angle. It's like the reflection of the office. So it's like the complete opposite. He's got all this like crappy stuff in his crappy office.
And this is what he wants his office to actually have.
I like
It's
that.
real stuff. It's photos. It's maybe there's like a footprint that somebody took out of the ground and it's been preserved, and it's all these actual relics where he sees it and he's like,
some kind of like a lucky Bigfoot.
Bigfoot's toupee.
But yeah,
That might be the episode title.
Bigfoot's toupee. But yeah, he's walking around, he's checking this thing out, and he's just like kind of in wonder, obviously. And then the phone rings, and he's met with just a very pleasant sounding woman on the other end. Mr. Henderson, I hope you enjoy your time with us at the Cryptid. Please feel free to enjoy the amenities of the hotel and your suite. Please let the front desk know if you have any questions. The kickoff cocktail party is tonight at 10:30 p.m. for all guests speaking at the World Cryptozoology Summit. We look forward to seeing you then. So now, at this point, Jerry's still got to be confused about being on the plane. Does he start to ask any questions here? How much is Jerry pushing this?
I mean, what do you mean pushing this? Because I feel like he's obviously got to be very confused.
Yeah.
But he's also loving the attention he's getting. He loves the room he's in. He watched some really cool Bigfoot stuff on the plane.
Yeah, exactly.
Eye-opening stuff.
Yeah.
So far, this trip has been great.
Yeah, pretty baller minus the passing out, being naked, and
thing.
that stuff. So yeah, like I don't know if he really does push for it, because like he's really got to ask about his missing time here. That's the thing is like, hey, what happened? I was just on a plane, now I'm here. Like I'm in different clothes. Like who brought me here? Like so many questions that you would think. But I feel Jerry here, he's almost just so overwhelmed by everything going on around him. I feel like he just kind of rolls with it.
Kind of, yeah.
It's like he's going to keep it, he's like obviously weirded out, but he just kind of rolls with it.
So this is what it is that he's invited to this thing, and all the cool stuff he was hoping would happen is happening. However, there's a lot of questions and uncertainty.
Right.
It is called the Cryptid. So
Yeah.
So that's what I'm picturing is he's still pumped because like, well, the good stuff that I wanted is happening. It's delivering, but a little weird.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody changed me.
Right.
I never would have guessed that would have been allowed. That somebody could undress me, but they have. But it's a good suit, and there's a lot of cool Bigfoot stuff around. And somebody called me Mr.
glad
Anderson.
that didn't just like crash in the plane.
Yeah, I was treated with respect, and that hasn't happened in a while.
It is a great suit that I'm wearing.
It's so comfortable. I don't know. Look, just something about it. But anyways, like, after this conversation, on the phone, Jerry decides, I'm just going to check out the hotel. I'm going to see what it has to offer. At this point, maybe he's just trying to keep his mind off of it. He's just kind of like, yeah, like everything is awesome, but it's weird too. It's like, he just doesn't really understand. But the hotel, everything's as you would expect. It's all monster themed. All the food and drinks have monster names all over the place. Like, I can't even...
Bigfoot, no-bake cookies.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's got to be like so many just stupid puns with names.
It's a poop joke.
Great. But all the different wings of the hotel, they're all monster themed. They just really leaned into it. Like, this is the Cryptid. Like, they're really on it.
Monster cheese.
Welcome to the Cryptid.
Exactly. Welcome to the Cryptid.
Monster energy drink for everyone.
That's good.
So Jerry lets his fascination just take over at this point. He's beginning to forget all about the creepy plane ride. All the familiar faces he's been seeing the last couple of days are all here. They're all seemingly having just a great time. It's like nobody's being weird because you got to think if he passed out on the plane and was changed, other people had to have passed out on that plane and were also changed. But nobody's giving off that vibe. So he's just like, it's just so weird. I'm just going to go with it. But
And everybody else is going with it.
exactly.
Yeah.
Everybody's just kind of going with the flow. So now they have some time to kill here. What kind of monster themed events or activities might our guests be playing or attending? I don't know why, for some reason I see like a sack race as part of it. Like, I have no idea why. That just popped into my head.
Pin the goat on the chupacabra.
Yeah, pin the horns on the Minotaur. It's like they've got to have just like a ton of just really just stupid like themed stuff that they're doing, but they've all got to love it. Like you gotta remember, they got to be like really into this
I
stuff.
feel like, yeah, like flashlight tag or something.
Yeah, something. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't know. I could see them really getting down on like you get all these people together in like a cool wooded area at night. I can't see a lot of people saying no to flashlight tag. I can't explain it, but you really nailed it.
Yep, exactly. I'd probably do it now. But yeah,
I got nothing to do tonight. We can flashlight tag after this. But I got to check my battery situation. But yeah, I think we're good.
So like we have all these just random like activities, like whatever. We're not into the conference yet. Remember, the kickoff is tonight. It's 10:30, and but as Jerry's kind of walking around, he's checking stuff out. He just is really, really just kind of put off by the hotel staff. They're really odd. None of them seem to interact or even know the guests even exist.
You're telling me that all the people that were selected to be flown out to this event find the hotel staff odd?
Yes. Yeah. I understand the irony. but yes. And now maybe you could be listeners like, we don't want to talk to you.
It's because but let's put it this way. If the fact that the hotel staff don't want to talk to the Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster experts,
not us that are odd.
I don't necessarily find that odd that they don't want to speak to them or acknowledge them. I'll just say that, but let's continue.
All right. So after cutting loose most of the day, Jerry decides he's going to head down to the beach. As the sun's setting, he picked up this awesome cigar. He got it, at the hotel. Like, he's going to go enjoy a smoke. And he's just going to kind of gaze off into the night sky. So this is, the sun's setting. And, that same unsettling feeling from earlier returns. As he looks into the sky, he starts to realize there's no stars. He was like, okay, this is kind of weird too. He was like kind of looking around. It's like, it doesn't feel like it's overcast. He starts to like, okay, well, where's the moon? No moon. He's like, okay, like this is just like pure blackness around me. He was like, it's just really weird. The hotel is nice and lit up. So he's kind of like, is there enough light pollution here? Like, it's like, this is just odd. Like we're in Bermuda. Like, now, like, we've got this, like, weird, stuff going on. I can't see any stars. Can't see the moon. So he just can't quite put his finger on it. And he just doesn't know what kind of weather phenomena he might be experiencing. So you got to remember, these are cryptozoologists. They're going to start to try to think of some things that are probably stupid and ridiculous to try to explain something. So that's where I feel like he's just going to kind of get lost in the moment. He's going to start being like, what is going on here?
What did Bigfoot do to these stars?
Right.
Seriously, did Bigfoot
Instead of like the logical jumps, it would be like leaps to.
Yeah.
This lady thinks Loch Ness Monster did something to the stars. This person thinks that Bat Boy flew away with the stars.
Must be the thing that I'm into that caused the problem.
Yeah. My mind, I think about Bigfoot all day. Where are the stars? You better have some answers, Bigfoot.
Exactly. So he just has this really just unsettled feeling again. It just keeps coming back. There just keeps being these weird things. He just can't quite put his finger on here, on what's going on. So he just keeps trying to rationalize it. And by that, I use that pretty loosely. Anything. He just can't quite get it.
I don't get it. I don't know what's
So Jerry continues to just gaze in discomfort at the sky, just trying to reason with himself. Edward Scurvy kind of walks up and just kind of interrupts his train of thought. Edward is simply just trying to let him know, like, hey, we should probably head up, get ready, go to the cocktail party. It's starting soon. Almost ignoring Edward, Jerry's like, hey, you're a boat captain. Have you ever seen anything like this? And he's like, no, but the eyes and clouds can play tricks on you. And that's basically all he says. And he's like, well, thanks. I feel so much better. So I got Edward Scurvy here telling me he's never seen anything like it, but he also doesn't care and just walked away. Maybe Edward is just, he's just too in the moment. He's just like, the cocktail party's coming up. I'm going to drink. Who knows?
Are all the other experts like in on it and he's the only one that it's like the Truman situation?
Yeah, we want spoilers.
No spoilers. Not yet. But he talks with Edward Scurvy and, again, doesn't feel any better. The clouds in your eyes can play tricks on you. And he's like, all right. So Jerry just heads up to his room. What are you going to do?
Well, that's Cryptid.
Exactly. It's like, it's just weird. What else can I really say here? It's like, I'm not going to get any answers from Edward Scurvy. So, he heads up to his room, but heading, to the conference area on his way back down, it was quite the sight to behold. Elaborate stations are just set up all over the place, like drinks, food everywhere, various art, different monsters, just floral arrangements, just super high-end stuff. And you got to think like, I'm picturing kind of similar size of like a Vegas hotel. You know what I mean? So it's a pretty big place. He's got a lot of ground to cover, so he's just walking through, he's seeing like all this like super expensive stuff. And he's just, just the wow factor comes back, so he's just kind of going along here, just checking all this stuff out, grabs himself a nice drink along the way. And then he gets down to the conference room. Now in this room,
and this is the event, right? Like it's starting.
It's the kickoff party.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the numerous tables set up across the room. Guests are, they're not all quite there yet, but, they're starting to come in. It's starting to fill up a little bit. So again, he's just got a drink. Maybe you'll end up getting another one. Conference room, like just to kind of describe the room here a little bit, just so you kind of get what I'm picturing. Like a stage up front, obviously it's usually where they go. But I feel like there's just like a big series of doors just on like, all around the room, maybe on two sides, just a lot of different doors.
Like double doors or
that's
individual.
Yeah, I would picture kind of some double doors.
Okay.
Just like super, super ornate.
I must know how many doors.
We'll put a ballpark number at 30. So 30 doors.
I'm satisfied.
All right. So he gets in this room. Like I said, he's got his drink. He's kind of checking this out. Like nothing's really going on yet. And, he's kind of just looking around. Now, it takes some time. Guests start to arrive, and they start to take their seats. Jerry's starting to get nervous. Everything he'd been experiencing these last couple days is just all coming back to him. Just weirded out, just that unsettling feeling. It just comes back.
Is he scheduled to speak, I'm assuming?
Not yet. He's going to be doing something later. Look, again, this is just kind of a kickoff. I kind of pictured this as like...
This is a meet and greet. Everybody gets to know each other. You like Bigfoot, you like Fat Boy. Let's
Sure, we got Monster cheese, we got Monster energy drink. Let's have a little mixer before the event.
Yeah, exactly.
We have skinned grapes that if we turn out the lights, we can tell you they're eyeballs.
We got spaghetti. You can put your hands in that.
But yeah, that's what's going on at the Cryptozoology convention.
They got medical gloves full of popcorn and
Yep, you got it. Guests are arriving. He's got this unsettling feeling coming back. The creepy hotel staff workers are just all lined up along the outer wall of the room, and like they're just kind of working the doors. Like obviously, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of doors. So there's a lot of workers, and
Of course.
yeah, exactly. Of course.
There's a lot of doors to manage.
Yeah. So, but Jerry's kind of like he's obviously unsettled, but he's starting to get excited. You know what? We're going to finally see our host. Someone's got to come up here and talk. There's a podium
just
here.
have one door guy.
So is this
run from one end?
Is this the reveal of who hosted the event when the host comes out?
It is.
Okay. This is so everybody gasps and they get quiet. I'm sure when this reveal happens.
And now, actually, my question here. Obviously, I haven't really given you much to work with. What do we expect? What do we picture of our host here? Who's coming out on this stage?
I mean, just huge dork, probably. I mean, I don't know.
So yeah, I left it a little vague, because like you could picture anybody coming out here. Like
My
for some
guess in
reason,
part
like a
one.
Jerry Springer looking guy came to mind.
Honestly, it could be
eccentric billionaires.
anybody. It really could be anybody, I feel like, at this point. But yeah, we could go with it's Jerry Springer,
All right, we got a Jerry Springer looking guy.
the ringmaster.
Exactly. So the host comes out. Finally, we have Jerry Springer walks out, not the real one. Guy looks like him.
Yeah.
Comes out on the stage and he starts he proceeds
Name's
to give
Gary.
Yeah.
Gary Springer.
Gary Springer. He gives a charming address to the guests in attendance. This guy, he's like really working the crowd. He's getting them all bought in. They're feeding off his energy. Like I'm picturing this guy almost comes off like he's like a motivational speaker. He's got like so much energy.
We're pumped.
Yeah, exactly.
You're gonna find Bigfoot tonight. Is what he's got to get him thinking.
So he just keeps feeding the crowd. He's just got them locked. So after another good laugh, we get a pause, and the host gives this address. Well, now that we've gotten to know each other a little, let's talk about the were-elephant in the room, right? For a little laugh here.
I like it.
What is the World Cryptozoology Summit? Why have I brought you all here? Well, the answer is simple. The summit is nothing, and every last one of you is a fraud. I know it, the world knows it, and you know it. You have built careers upon lies, mostly so you can just go camping with your buddies and somebody else pays for everything. What you do is a disservice to everyone. The reason I have you gathered here today...
I love this guy.
The reason I have you gathered here today is not to tell you that you are frauds. You are. But that's not the reason you're here. You already knew that. I have brought you all here to face your lies. All of the doors audibly close and lock. In 1 hour's time, you will walk back through the doors that you see on the sides of this very room. The staff will guide you. You may take whatever is on your person through that door. Anyone that returns through their door will be free to leave this place. Now the clock has started. I suggest you eat and prepare for what lies await you.
So he turned into the Riddler at the end.
So then he walks off stage, and they're all standing there going,
Play a game.
Gary.
Yeah, the energy's going to come way down. It's everyone like, whoa, what the hell just happened?
I'm not a liar.
You've got to imagine, people are going to be like, whoa, what the hell just happened here? Like, we've just been wined and dined and brought here. This guy just ranted about how
What a funny thing to do, to just fly a bunch of assholes in and just call them on all their bullshit and say, all right, there's the door, asshole. Wow, that's not bad.
So immediately after making this statement,
I want $1 billion now. I got a lot of plans now. You really got me thinking.
yeah, so it's a real head scratcher there. What can you do? This is a good one.
To recall, though, so Jerry Henderson, our main character, he is admittedly
He owned it.
a fraud. He was the one who said that I faked
He's a
it.
fraud. He got caught. Netflix just...
But everyone else on that plane was steadfast like this.
Yeah, I would say so.
unchecked.
Yeah.
Say.
And remember, Jerry, he had to do some soul searching, but he's still kind of a crazy piece of shit on his podcast, spouting off some nonsense, and hasn't really... He felt he would come clean later, remember, after accepting the invitation.
Okay.
So he had his scandal. He had his falling out.
But he's also questioning his own beliefs, which
Exactly.
this guy on stage just totally rubbed in his face. So it's like, you know you're liars, and yet you're here.
Yeah,
So there's the door, dickhead. And that's
pretty much.
basically where we're
After
at.
1 hour's time, the doors will open again.
So they have to sit and stew for an hour looking
Yes.
at each other.
They're going to marinate on it.
and finish your Bigfoot bear claws or whatever the hell this guy's serving.
Monster cheese.
Yeah, your monster cheese and Bigfoot
Your
bear claws.
Sugar-free Monster energy drink.
And now remember, he also said you can take whatever with you through your door. So immediately after making this statement, the host walks away from the podium. He goes backstage, mic drop. Like he's out of there. Everyone in the room slowly starts to go into a panic. They're all just confused. Is this some elaborate prank? You know, like, what is happening here? However, all of the workers at the doors, they will not move. They will not react to anything. They have those things closed. They might as well be statues there. So they are just not letting anybody through. They're not listening. They're not responding. So this leads to even more panic among the guests. Because now you have we said like 30 doors. We got like 60 workers and they're all watching the doors. Numerous guests begin to shout. They're all shouting about their cryptozoology credentials and why the door should open for them. Like, could you imagine somebody telling you that, hey, I'm a cryptozoologist, somebody deserves special treatment?
Somebody invoking their number of TikTok followers for you to open the door for me at once.
Exactly. Like, can you imagine? So, precisely as one would normally imagine, it opened precisely 0 doors. These workers, they're not moving.
They're unimpressed.
Yeah, exactly.
Not one of the doors they'll allow.
Yeah.
Well, especially after the speech just given, you think if you were just some minimum wage, I don't know anything about what's going on in your event, and the guy on stage just was that, just
I don't know who that was, but I'm
Trash.
wrong with it now.
just being like, fuck all of you, you're liars, and you know it, we know it. Get out of here. The doors will open in an hour. If I was being paid $5 an hour, I wouldn't move. If somebody came up to me telling me to open the door, I'd be like, no, this was so good. I'm not opening it. Like, you're going to stand here in your shame.
So, after the longest hour of his life, a bell tolls and the host comes back to the podium.
Oh,
He thanks his guests for staying with him at the cryptid,
Gary.
and he wishes them a safe journey. The bell tolls again. All the workers move to open their doors at once. Now, on the other side of these doors, there appears to be nothing. There's nothing behind these doors now. Where there was once a lively and posh hotel before entering the room, there's nothing. You can't see. It's like a void, essentially. You can't see anything past here.
But go on, get into the void.
And that's every door.
Every single door.
Okay.
And now, remember, the guests are going to be escorted out by the workers. So now you've got the hotel staff coming to life. They've opened the doors. They're starting to grab people.
They're acknowledging them now.
They're acknowledging them now, but only to basically like manhandle them. They're just like grabbing them by like each arm. You know, just basically you got to imagine the guests are kicking and screaming.
Closing time.
Exactly. So now remember, what can you bring with you on the other side of that door? And think in this moment, now these doors have opened. There's nothing beyond them where you might not have taken that seriously before. You're just like, what the hell is going on here? I got to find something. Like, would you grab like a table knife? You know, like what kind of stuff might you try to like grab to be tossed into a void with? You know, like I feel like that's like somewhat important, but not really.
Probably a knife and a drink. I mean, what I would head into the void with, you know.
Yeah, you gotta think like some people might grab like if it's like a cocktail party, like give you some of those finger sandwiches, like shove them in their pocket.
I don't know.
Candle.
Like I'm picturing maybe you grab the tablecloth and try to use it as like a parachute if you're jumping out.
Oh, you're saying you think the void has no floor?
I don't know.
I was picturing a floor.
We'll find out. We'll find out.
There's got to be a floor. So you're saying jump out of this plane, basically?
Yeah.
You take a tablecloth as a parachute?
Yeah, I'd probably try to flip a table if I had enough time. Even grab a table leg as a club.
All right, I changed mine, not the drink and the candle, because the candle's going to blow out.
So now, do people even think to try to grab stuff like that? I mean, these are cryptozoologists.
Well, you said they're going to be escorted out.
Oh, yeah.
It's like they're walking hand in hand with.
Oh yeah,
like,
one by one, they're grabbing them and just like
jump
tossing
first.
them.
Yeah.
There's got to be a floor. Can we agree there's a floor?
You don't know it first.
And okay, we'll find out. Tell us, please.
All right, well,
I need to know.
Jerry looks on
Like
helplessly.
take a step and it's like a little farther down than you expected, you know?
It's like when there's an extra step at the bottom of the stage.
Yeah, like Indiana
know?
Jones and the Leap of Faith.
You step on a firm floor, but you have that like, whoa moment. Like that's what the void is. It's just one step down you can't see.
So Jerry looks on helplessly as guests are beginning to be tossed through their doors, knowing that his time is coming soon. Now he doesn't, as soon as they go through those doors, he can't see anything of them anymore. It's just gone. It's back to pure black. It's just nothingness there. Very quickly, he's taken by both arms, by workers, and he's dragged towards a door. As he's being dragged, he barely struggles. He's just almost silently asking himself, why? Why is this happening?
Just take me.
And
I'm Jerry, take me.
Exactly. Just he's like, I'm already here. What am I going to do? Well, what can I really fight back against?
You've already changed me.
He has no more shame.
After being walked into a void after you've been changed by a faceless stranger.
Exactly. And after a moment, he's thrown through his own door.
Geronimo.
Everything goes black. Act 3.
So it didn't have a floor.
The most dangerous lies. Now, as I told you,
Named the act.
I did.
I don't think Tarantino.
I don't think the other two even had a name, but this one.
No, they did.
What's the name again?
The second one was Welcome to the Cryptid, and the first one was The Invitation.
And what's this one?
This is The Most Dangerous Lies.
It's the most dangerous game.
I like
Iced
it.
tea.
I like it.
Hey, we'll work in somewhere.
I hope not.
Jerry awakens to find himself standing next to a giant redwood tree. It's just like the plane ride all over again. Blackness, woke up, he's in a new place. He looks around, just trying to make sense of what's happening. What's that?
Different suit.
A redwood tree on the plane.
Not a one. So he's just trying to make sense. Like, what has happened here? He's trying to get himself oriented, and he realizes that he's in the Pacific Northwest. This is where almost all Bigfoot encounters originate.
So I think I know where we're going. Everybody's void led them into the actual discovery. Is that what we're getting into?
We'll see.
A billionaire says, you've been looking for Bigfoot for quite a while. I'll show you Bigfoot. I'll show you Loch Ness Monster. I'll show you Bat Boy. I'll show you the Mothman. Is that what's happening here?
So with this, I do kind of picture as, like, in this story, maybe they did actually go through some kind of Bermuda Triangle type thing, but everything else is fake. I feel like maybe the host, and this isn't even written into the story, maybe the host knew about this and just built this place here. He kind of, let's just say he tapped into some kind of supernatural power.
So it's Imagination Land from South Park.
Kind of, yeah.
We've flown into Imagination Land.
Yeah.
So the Bermuda Triangle is a wormhole to wherever you want to go in those doors.
So yeah, it's like, so essentially, like I said, we'll just call it a different dimension, plane of existence, whatever you want to call it. But the host, we'll just say he's in control of it. I mean, he doesn't even really show up here anymore. You know, like we're in this part now. But again, like, you know, none of the monsters are real or anything in the real world. We have kind of crossed a barrier, and that they didn't even know that they crossed. You know, that's where I kind of feel the cryptid exists. It's kind of, you know, beyond our dimension. We'll kind of call it that. So that's where I feel like we kind of like get a little Twilight Zone-y vibe here, whereas like the half of this was all comedy, you know, because it's just so ridiculous. But we'll just say we had some kind of supernatural event. They're in this.
So this movie would get
like a dream.
This movie you're saying gets more and more serious, essentially, as we go.
Yeah. So he realizes he's in the Pacific Northwest. This is where all the Bigfoot encounters like usually originate. He's starting to make his way through the woods, you know, and not far along, you know, he finds a trail, and he just kind of takes it for a little while until he comes across the badly decomposed, severed limb of a human. And he realizes, I'm here to be hunted. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut to our other cast members here.
So it's not looking good for Jerry.
Not looking great for Jerry. And remember, the host says that you are going to face your lies. Doesn't necessarily say you're being hunted or anything. You're just going to face your lies. So we can kind of we can interpret this however we want here.
Well, Jerry's lies involved poop, didn't they?
Well, maybe one.
So I have a feeling he has a pretty disgusting thing to face.
We'll find out. Now, like we will pause here for a second. What other Bigfoot things could we kind of maybe work in here? Like, I almost feel like maybe there's a jump scare. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen it. I know I've seen some silly Bigfoot documentaries where like Bigfoot will like knock on trees. That'll be like how some people try to communicate.
I see them claiming that like Bigfoot's throwing things at them as they're walking through paths, and it's like, if he's close enough to be throwing things at you, you're telling me you can't get him on camera.
Right, exactly.
You know, like it just seems, you guys came out prepared for this. You have a Netflix budget. You're telling me he's throwing things at you, and you haven't seen him.
Yeah, so Bigfoot threw this apple at you, but you were standing right here underneath this apple tree. Am I hearing that right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, like I feel like he sees this, maybe some kind of jump scare or something happens, and we're gonna cut to another perspective. You know, here's some of our other guests that were, you know, sent in through their own doors. Remember, Edward Scurvy, he's the boat captain. He's on the hunt for Nessie. Dr. Herring, the professor of Greek mythology at the University of Vermont. Mary Sue Molina, the super jacked Mothman fanatic with sponsors. So we've got like these a few
sponsors.
Yeah,
it's impressive.
Yeah, she's trying to arrest Mothman. Remember?
Yes.
So yeah, we're gonna cut to them. Now we can obviously explore a little bit more of like backstories and stuff here if we really wanted to. Like what happened with Edward Scurvy and this incident with Nessie.
Scurvy, wouldn't he have just splashed into some water, stepping into the void?
Yeah, we left it
So I feel like he would just plunk into some water, and it would end in a super romantic, probably very sexy scene with the Loch Ness Monster, is I think what we're building up to. There's been a lot of tension we've been building this whole movie.
It's all over the clothes, I promise.
Well, yes, of course. This isn't, at least we're gonna have to at least do a second cut for the TV version.
It's not smut. Like we're not writing smut, not yet.
Of course not. But this is a hot scene, people. I'm just saying.
Well, we can explore a little bit here. Like, obviously we know he faked that picture of Nessie. How did he fake it? What did he do?
Well, like I said, the real one was literally a dog swimming with a stick in its mouth, and they just zoomed in on the stick itself
Okay.
with the waves and stuff around it as the dog was swimming. And allegedly, that's what the famous Loch Ness photo we all know is. So I'm assuming this guy's would be something as equally as simple.
Yeah. Yeah, I
And
think it's
just-
something simple or stupid. Right.
He literally just took a photo of like a stick in the water and just was like, that kind of looks like a creature. And then just put it online, and people were like, I love this stuff. I'm going to agree. That's a monster.
Right.
You know?
Yep. So, I mean, like, what happened with Mary Sue and her
What other proof would you have? Like maybe like an egg or something? Like this is the egg of the Loch Ness Monster.
An egg of a Loch Ness Monster.
He made an omelet of a Loch Ness Monster egg and regretted it ever since.
No, I don't want to date.
It's like a big like.
I don't want to date this episode just because we have a very evergreen format, as they call it, where it's like it's timeless. But have you guys seen the aliens at the Mexico's they had a Congress meeting where some guys unveiled alien bodies?
And it was like one of the worst, like, stupid looking aliens like ever.
Well, they claim they're 1,000 years old. They're ET.
Yeah.
They look like tiny ETs.
Yeah.
And they're claiming they're like, these are 1,000 years old. We've had them or whatever. And nobody's even, we don't even want to see the evidence they're fake. Everybody's just like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't believe it.
You know?
And, like, exactly. I think I
Yeah.
saw a picture of it and I was like, that just looks like a crappy clay sculpture that they didn't do properly.
Yes. And granted, once you say
turned into a meme.
Yeah, right.
once you say it's 1,000 years old, I guess it's like, okay, that makes a sense of why it looks like you literally carved it out of a rock. But I don't know. I'm not buying it. But like I said, I'm not trying to date this with current events or whatever. But like, that's kind of what I'm picturing. Like, it's these same type of people. The alien guy would be on the plane.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Basically.
like they said, the alien guy's not on the plane here. We're getting like we're getting into the dumb ones. Like,
So you think aliens is almost too believable?
well, if you had to lend credibility to one, which one would you give it to? Bigfoot or an alien?
Mothman.
All right, fine.
Mothman, obviously.
And on that, what happened with Mary Sue and her boyfriend? Did she stage the whole thing? We didn't really explore that.
I wouldn't have even guessed, but what do you got?
Just
What are you
remember,
saying?
She's a cryptozoologist now. She's a fraud by nature.
She's a known liar.
Yeah,
I think she crashed that car on purpose.
maybe she did. We don't know. Maybe she did that and acted crazy. Like maybe they were like, we're not going to suspect her now. She's like so weird. And then she just like got really jacked and did martial arts. It was like, we really don't want to mess with her now.
Or maybe her boyfriend was sick of it. And he said, look, nobody believes this shit. You're making us both look incredibly stupid. And she says, you know what? I'll drive off this bridge right now. And he says, yeah, right. No, do it. He goes, you won't.
I dare you. All right. Well, what about Dr. Herring? He seems like just, maybe normal, but just kind of weird. What's his backstory?
Jump off the void and like to the base of Mount Olympus then and like have to
Maybe.
climb up.
Well, what's his backstory? Why is he there? The other ones, you kind of, feel like, yeah, they're trying to like really make money off of being crazy into cryptozoology. This guy's a professor at a university. He's actually like teaching the subject, albeit he's kind of just weird and goes beyond that.
He found like a really, 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 really old book. In that
It's got the
and, like,
Necronomicon.
proof in it. And so that's what really like jump started his journey for that through his research.
Yeah, so like I don't really have much of anything for Dr. Herring. One of the jokes I had was like maybe his wife is related to like a well-known criminal and that's why he's there instead. Is like, if they're like asking questions like, well, why am I here? Is like, well, doesn't your wife run an MLM? He's like, oh, all right. Like, I get it. All right, I deserve it. but maybe that bullshit he pulled in the plane was enough. Like, remember, like this host seems to be kind of all-knowing. So like maybe he's like, this is the kind of guy who turns his phone on, like and pulls up the GPS on a plane. Fuck this guy. It's like,
Yeah.
maybe
Like
that's
Fortnite.
it. Yeah, exactly. He like hooks up his PlayStation somehow. But anyways, like, the others are gonna awaken confused, just like Jerry. Edward, he's on a boat amid a storm on a body of water, no land in sight. Dr. Herring, he finds himself at the beginning of the labyrinth. Mary Sue finds herself at the wheel of a 1998 Pontiac Sunfire, several hard lemonades deep, her boyfriend next to her. These are how these people wake up, like if you want to call it that, after getting thrown into the void.
So they're not set up to actually discover the thing they've been looking for. They're literally in their lies.
Yes.
They're facing their lies.
They are facing their lies.
So the severed leg for the Bigfoot guy, how does that come into play?
And remember, it's just some...
He says he knows he's being hunted, but wouldn't it just be more as his cousin doing something annoying?
Yeah, but I mean, you can go even further back during his career. Like, we didn't really explore too much. There could be something in there that has something in relation to that.
Cousin Ted isn't your first lie, is what you're telling me.
Right, exactly.
When you're a Bigfoot hunter.
So, for this one, we'll focus on Edward Scurvy. He comes to, and he's on.
Edward Scurvy's the Loch Ness Monster guy.
Yes, Edward Scurvy's the Loch Ness Monster guy.
Initially, we talked about, like, he probably had, like, a boat wreck and...
Yeah, rode the Loch Ness Monster back to shore.
And the monster saved him, and that's what...
Gave him mouth-to-mouth at shore. Saved his life. Rested his head gently on his chest.
So now that he's been thrown back through the void, we find him... He's reliving that experience, or...
Yeah, I think we could put something like that. Remember, he's got to be a fraud. This has to be something that's coming back to.
Well, they all have to be frauds.
Yeah, exactly.
So as you're saying, it's not actually Loch Ness Monster. It's like a manatee or something like that.
So in here,
this guy just had sex with like a sea lion, and like he's built a career around it.
Jeez, that's quite the career. Now in this one, so Edward Scurvy's on this boat. He's trying to keep it afloat. It's not trying to succumb to the storm. In the distance, the shadow starts to form, and it could be nothing else. This is the Loch Ness Monster. He's headed directly for it. He's trying to steer the ship away. You got to think what kind of stuff's coming to your mind. You've been lying about this for your whole life, and all of a sudden now it's just right in front of you. There's just nothing he can do. He can't turn it away. He decides, I'm going to cut the engines. I don't know. Maybe that'll help.
I'm going to let the Loch Ness Monster have its way with me.
Basically. Draws ever closer to the monster until it's finally upon him. So what is his reckoning here? And I don't necessarily love where you're going with it. So where are you going to go with it?
Go ahead, Savage.
Yeah, go ahead, Savage.
Okay, so he's the fraud. So the story that he made up initially about the Loch Ness Monster, the monster wasn't involved, but the Loch Ness Monster is real, and now...
Yeah, here it is.
He's here to clear the air.
Yeah, I see this. However it goes down, it leads to
here's your
death.
restraining order. Stay away from me.
Gets arrested.
But you said it was his lies. So is this like a you wouldn't know the Loch Ness Monster? She goes to another school situation.
It could be anything we want here. Okay. All that really has to happen is his reckoning. Whatever his lie is, it comes back on him in this moment. So he could have faked that picture, and maybe it's whatever he faked the picture with. That's right there, and it just like comes apart, crashes on him, destroys his boat.
Okay, so it's like just a cosmic,
just a giant dog with a big stick, and that destroys his boat.
Yeah, exactly. It could be anything.
It's ripped apart by dogs.
It could be anything. It's like however he faked it, however he was a fraud, that is his undoing. So it could be just rabid water dogs rip his boat apart and kill him. It could be the faked picture of like a toy boat and some arm thing comes and crashes onto him.
Water wolves is a terrifying thought. If he's on a small boat, just like, where's Loch Ness Monster? And then just wolves start swimming up to your boat and they're out for blood.
It just hears gurgled howling.
You can't escape it. The water wolves. So I see where you're going. It would take a little bit more thinking than we probably have time for to really figure out what the ironic fate would be for lying about a Loch Ness Monster. Maybe it's that she didn't love you at all.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe the Loch Ness Monster had no feelings for you, and you feel used and alone after your encounter.
So, however this goes down, Edward Scurvy is no more. He has had his reckoning. He is done. So
now
now
the shipness,
with the quickness. Now we switch to Mary Sue. She's driving her car. She's lost in the moment. Here he was, the boyfriend that she killed that night.
Riding shotgun.
She killed him that night, but there he is in the passenger seat again. That late night in autumn, As he talks to her, she begins to drift his way, watching him just talking, just losing focus on the road. This goes on for some time. Then suddenly, the Mothman appears in the road ahead. Now, Mary Sue, she slams on the brakes, closes her eyes as they stop. Nothing happens. They're just stopped in the middle of the road. Mary Sue opens her eyes. There's no Mothman. She screams. As she stops, she kind of reaches over to try to get the boyfriend, kind of hold him back, just an instinct. She slams on the brakes, reaches over, and closes her eyes. Nothing happens. Then Mary Sue opens her eyes, no Mothman, and then her hand rests upon the mutilated upper torso of her boyfriend. She screams and runs out of the car, down the road, where she came from, just utter panic.
So he is alive when she hits the brakes. She's like, "Oh my gosh!" Tries to stop him. Close her eyes. The car stops, and then she opens them back up, but he's still
you got to
disfigured from the crash.
There's no crash, but he's been crashed.
Yeah, so kind of what I see with her, she found some kind of way to however they crashed it, because maybe she killed him before.
She's thought about it. She's thought about it a million times. If I only did this, blah blah blah. So this time she does that.
Yeah, well,
but she killed this guy.
Originally she did kill this guy.
Yes.
However, it goes
blamed
down.
It on Mothman.
She blamed it on Mothman to be crazy.
The car.
But now it's time for her to face the Mike's hard truth.
Yes, the Mike's hard truth. I love it.
Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
Okay.
She's driving down the road, sees Mothman, screams. Her boyfriend was fine just a moment ago. Reaches over. She looks at him now. Just a bloody mess. Looks exactly like.
But no car crash.
The kill. Exactly. No car crash.
That's a pretty wild scene.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
So she just runs out of the car screaming, goes down the road, looks back at the car, no longer there. Turns back in front of her, Mothman directly in her face. And then she's done. However, Mothman takes care of her, she gets killed.
So is this a man with the face of a moth?
I guess really explored
You ever
that.
watch The Tick?
I was just about to say that.
It's kind of
Arthur.
It's Arthur the Moth from The Tick. It's got to you can't get a good look at the Mothman. I feel like once you get a good look at the Mothman, it's Arthur from The Tick. It needs to be quick glimpses. You can't talk to the Mothman. It goes too far. The best scary movies are they don't show you much.
Right.
Once the Mothman you're talking to him, you've gone too far.
Yeah. I picture this as just the two quick glimpses. There he is on the road.
That's how Mothman Prophecies did it. Just a quick, I feel that was it.
The host is actually M. Night Shyamalan, and that's the twist the whole time.
So twisty.
So you get invited to an event like this, you see M. Night Shyamalan walk on the stage, and you go, "Oh, we're fucked." Who knows? Who knows what's about to happen?
It's like if it were Michael Bay, it would still be bad, but not as bad.
Predictably bad is what it would be.
Exactly.
M. Night Shyamalan, we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So this is more scary.
Michael Bay is loud and confusing,
Right.
but will probably be fine.
I think predictably bad would be a very good review to put on a trailer or a poster for a Michael Bay movie. Predictably bad, New York Times.
Yep. So Mary Sue here, she meets her end. Like I said, however happens, it doesn't need to be so horror in this part, but
She got covered with moth dust and it was over.
exactly. So now we go to Professor Herring.
Mothballs.
Yeah.
She's drunk.
Yeah, Professor Herring was the Greek mythology.
Yes. Yeah, Professor, University of Vermont.
curious about
Proving
this guy.
that the Minotaurs and Centaurs were actually in the labyrinth.
He believes it. So
Now he's in the labyrinth.
yeah, he enters the labyrinth.
The spookiest environment of all
Yeah.
that we've painted so far.
So he is just more curious of the ancient look and feel of it than really afraid of what's going on around him. He considers himself to have a great mind and great memory. So the maze itself, for him, no problem. He actually gets right through it. Upon reaching the end of the labyrinth, he finds himself face to face with the Sphinx. And as intimidating as this moment is...
No. He says, no, when you say the Sphinx, I picture the big statue of the
I know.
Sphinx.
Yeah.
You're saying like a pharaoh.
No. There is a real Sphinx monster. So I think it's the head of it's like three different things. It's like the body of like a lion. It's like the head of like an eagle or something. Like it's a few different monsters rolled into one, or animals, I should say, rolled into one.
Yeah.
So it is it's a legit folklore, whatever, But yes, so he finds the Sphinx. And now, obviously, I could have gone with the Minotaur. There was a reason for that. Minotaur is famously at the end of the labyrinth. But
Of course.
exactly.
Everybody knows. If you see the Minotaur, that's over. You've completed the labyrinth.
As intimidating as this moment is, the professor's confident. He's smart. Now, something about Sphinxes is that he knows they will ask you 3 riddles. And once they do, if you answer correctly...
Is this real? How have I never heard this?
This is real. This is real.
Rumpelstiltskin.
It is.
Is it Rumpelstiltskin? Sphinx then.
Probably. Sure. But
They're not related, are they?
They're not.
Okay, I don't know where. Okay. But okay, so I didn't know this. 3
Yeah.
wishes from a Sphinx.
No, not 3 wishes. 3 riddles. You have to answer 3
okay.
riddles.
Yes, I'm sorry. 3
Yeah.
riddles.
But he's smart. He knows all about the Sphinxes. The Sphinx is going to ask him 3 riddles, and he's going to be able to escape after this. Easy.
He's been preparing for these Sphinx riddles.
Yeah, his whole life. Now, I have a couple options here for how this actually happens. So, option 1, the Sphinx asked a very abrupt and stupid question. Like, hey, what's your problem, bruh? And then he just responds like, what? I don't have a problem.
How could
Done.
How could you respond?
Yeah, done. He has no idea what to answer with that. And it's like not the right answer.
So we got to set this up a little more. This is the movie. He sees the Sphinx and he knows what's going to happen. He goes, "Oh, I need to answer the 3 riddles," but I'm prepared for the 3 riddles.
Yeah.
I've prepared my whole life. So there's a confidence.
Yeah.
He heads towards the Sphinx.
Yeah.
And then he gets hit with the, "Hey, what's cracking, bro?"
Exactly.
And he's just like, and he has no idea what to say.
Exactly. Like, what? And
Yeah.
they're dead. So,
So it's very, well, okay, I want to hear the other options just because I say that's very like Holy Grail.
yeah, exactly.
Where, like, what's your favorite color? Blue. I mean, black.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what I'm saying is it's very, I like where you're going, but we need to stray away from
Yeah.
anything like that.
So option 2 here is one that I probably would have gone with, is the Sphinx asks just the worst riddles ever. And
Most obvious.
yeah. So the first riddle, what gets wetter as it dries? It's like,
That's not I wait. Don't.
Towel.
a towel.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I feel like I could have got there.
What cheese is not yours?
Well, clearly Munster cheese.
Nacho
based on the
cheese.
Conference.
Nacho
That's
cheese.
nacho cheese.
And
I knew that one.
Another random example I had here. What is broken once it's spoken?
Silence.
You got it. Silence. You would have gone right past the Sphinx. And now maybe the last one is a bit harder. I speak without a mouth and hear without ears. I have no body, but I come alive with wind. What am I?
Terrible at riddles is what I am. I would be at the Sphinx just stammering.
Savage might be onto something. I feel like the wheels are turning.
So say it one more time.
I speak without a mouth and hear without ears. I have no body, but I come alive with wind. What am I?
A kazoo.
It
It's
is
got to
not a
be.
kazoo.
It's got to be a kazoo.
I'll give a few moments here, but it's all right. I purposely chose a harder one here.
They've all been hard, except nacho cheese. I nailed that one, but
I'm stumped. What is it?
yeah.
An echo.
All right.
I speak without a mouth and hear without ears. I have no body, but I come alive with wind. What am I? It's an echo. So,
That's a
What are you always leaving behind, but you can't take with you?
what is that one?
I don't think I even said it right.
I was going to say like time, but
It's footsteps. I don't think I said
okay.
it right at all.
all right. Well, that's fair.
But it's very clever. But I said it right.
But yeah, I see like this one. We'll just go with option 2 here. He gets to the hard one and he's just stumped. He has no idea.
Yeah.
And then that's his undoing. The Sphinx gets him.
Yep.
And maybe he just tells him that's for being a dick on the plane with your GPS. Who knows? Like he's not there for a very discernible reason. He just kind of sucks just generally. So they just get him for that.
He didn't really fit in anyways.
Yeah, he really did.
Nobody's hunting Greek myths.
And now we're back to Jerry. He's still quietly moving through the woods, listening, looking everywhere. You got to imagine he thinks he's being hunted by Bigfoot. Now, would your Bigfoot knowledge even help you here? You got to think like Bigfoot, real world, fake. Here, real. do the same rules apply? You know, like the same bullshit he's spouting on his podcast? Like,
Do Bigfoot hunters even bring like self-defense things with them? I don't even think they're even prepared.
yeah, probably. Do they have like Bigfoot spray?
I don't even think they're even prepared for a real encounter.
Yeah,
I think
probably
they're
not.
They're like, all they have is things to find Bigfoot. There's no actual plan for finding one.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't have like an oversized net that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
So like I kind of thought about that. Is like, would he be trying to like maybe like counter track Bigfoot to see where he is? Like maybe I can avoid it. I see the footsteps going this way. You know, like who knows? Like he just thinks like maybe this will help. I think no, it doesn't. You know, like that's just kind of where I was going with it. Maybe
I mean, you're just wandering in the woods. It'd be a mixture of, okay, Bigfoot's going to kill me. This is terrifying. And like, is there actually a Bigfoot out here? That's pretty exciting.
yeah, exactly.
You know, I feel like that's
so
where
many feelings.
I feel like that's where his head would be at.
He's definitely, if he's got training and he never actually had to put it to use
Training.
before.
I was going to call I was going to call out training too. What do you mean?
Okay. So, I mean, not necessarily training, but, you mentioned tracking.
He's really hashed out his lies.
If there was a guy that knew a ton about Bigfoot, it's this guy.
I see what you're saying now. You're talking about tracking.
So he knows what they're likely to eat. He knows what their, sleeping patterns
If I find
are.
patches of fur on this tree, maybe he rubbed himself against it. You know, I got to go the other way.
the right,
the
right berries.
not save him in a survival type situation, but maybe he's like try to apply that knowledge in some way here and evade
Yeah.
danger.
Yeah, maybe he finds like a poorly whittled doll, on the way. It's like, Bigfoot's close. You know what I mean? It is like, this is a fresh whittle.
Yeah, Bigfoot does seem to love dolls.
Kind of does.
Sculpted. Like, what is Bigfoot whittling? A duck? Like, what?
I don't know. I hope it's not like, I don't know. I'm going to say like, it'd be weird if it was like, it was people, you know what I mean? Like, I'd rather it be something else. I don't know. Just,
Could we show the other end of it where somehow Bigfoots rarely see people and they're like, some people are like, or some Bigfoots are like, I don't believe you. You're saying if somebody doesn't have hair on them everywhere? I don't know.
right. He's like, you came to our society. Get out of here.
So that could be the thing, is now he's going into a world where he is the Bigfoot
Yeah.
and that there's people claiming, like, he threw a rock at me.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? I'm just trying to figure things out. I don't know where I am.
What if Bigfoot was whittling like big sandals, like wooden shoes?
Clogs.
Yeah.
Bigfoot's Dutch. I didn't know that. But I feel like at this point he's getting a little bit further down, the trail here. Maybe he hears a knock out in the woods. Maybe a poorly whittled doll gets thrown at him. Like whatever. Whatever happens, he runs in a panic because like Bigfoot's right here. In his mind. He has the startle. He runs off. He remembers the host told him that he would be faced with his lies. So he has to kind of reflect back on the second as he's running. Like, well, if that's the case, Bigfoot's my cousin with werewolf syndrome. He's just like, maybe he hopes against all hope. And he yells out, Ted? Ted, is that you? And from the distance, he just hears this roar. And he's like, it's not Ted. So Jerry runs. He just keeps running until he comes to this steep drop from a small cliffside overlooking a river. Bigfoot's hot on his tail like that. He can just see like the tree line, like plants are shaking violently.
So you have Bigfoot or certain death.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
jumping and yes, okay.
So terrified, he jumps. As he lands, he breaks his legs. Bigfoot, on the other hand, scales down the wall with almost no effort. He is seeing a Bigfoot in his eyes for the first time ever. He can barely move. As he starts to try to crawl away, remember, his legs are broken here. Bigfoot slowly moves towards him, and he's just looming directly over him. And now we get to choose our ending here. So I have two different things here. Now, first ending option is Bigfoot just kills Jerry by just beating him to death like a gorilla. That's probably what I would go with.
I don't even hate that ending. I feel like if it just ended with just a baboon with a first person beating the camera to death ending, I would kind of be like, well, like,
Where this was going all along.
I mean, what did you want to? Well, this is your end goal.
Yep. So Bigfoot just gorilla beats him to death. Nobody goes back through their doors. Some years pass, before the next World Cryptozoology Summit will happen.
Now, what about the people escorting them out? Do they just walk a certain few steps? They go, all right, just keep going, and they just
You talking like the
employees?
No. Remember, like I would picture them as almost like Lurch, like from the Addams Family, like big silent
They just push you
goons.
into the void.
Exactly. You're just
Okay, so they're not escorting you into the void.
Yeah, no.
It's just it's a shove.
Exactly. Yeah, you're
Okay.
tossed
I gotcha.
like DJ Jazzy
Okay, so
Jeff.
what's the other ending? And we talked about a lot about love stories here. I'm kind of hoping for one.
Bigfoot comes over, like Jerry, and then apologizes for his outburst back there. He helps Jerry up, and he brings him to the exit. Jerry asks, like, wait, why me? Why do I get to leave? Ted answers, because you were an honest man once, and you can be again. Jerry blacks out and awakens in his office.
Ted answered.
Ted.
All right.
So I would picture it as kind of just like this moment, maybe like you said, you hear this roar, but it could be anything. It's just like a jump scare. But Ted escorts him out of there, tells him he was honest with himself once and he can be again.
So it's Ted the whole time.
In this one, yes.
So he wakes in his office, turns on the news, and every other prominent cryptozoologist is missing or dead. Is what I'm.
Would the world really miss it? Like,
Or it wouldn't even really be reported on. Probably. It would be on a Reddit thread somewhere where they'd be
probably.
like, ha ha ha, like Loch Ness Monster Hunter drowns. And that would be like, essentially, yeah, exactly. Get wrecked, idiot. And that would be
Exactly. That's
front
it.
page Reddit right there.
Yep.
Top of our all.
So those are our two ending options, unless you have a third. If you have anything else out there. I, for one, I think he just gets beat to death by Bigfoot, and that's the end of the movie.
There's no explaining of what this was.
No, I want it to be a mystery. It's
This becomes
Cryptid.
kind of paranormal-esque. Who really knows how do you even explain it?
right.
So it's something that you're saying it starts as a comedy, ends with a brutal gorilla beating, and yeah, it'd be hard to classify in a genre, I would say.
I know. I had a lot of trouble with it.
Well, I don't see any circumstance where they would get back through the door and escape, from the cryptid, because they were put back in each of those situations or whatever where it was just kind of like you had this coming.
I kind of like to picture somebody does make it back to the doors to like the event hall or whatever it is. And, the lights are dim and there's just a bunch of staff busting tables and they're like, you're not supposed to be in here. And they go, oh, I'm sorry. And they just go back into the void.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me. And it just resets.
You're not supposed to come back in here. And they go, I'm sorry. And that's it. And then it's just back to the void with you. I feel like that would be more realistic. We could all relate to that ending. I'm too late. The reception's over.
But there it is, the Cryptid. So quite the ride here.
I still kind of like Cabbage Squanch.
Yeah, Cabbage Squatch. I really want that too.
Cabbage Squatch.
Yeah, maybe it's episode, what is it, 6 or 7? The Cryptid,
6.
Cabbage Squatch.
I think Edward needs to be the one that goes back through the cryptid.
His love story with the Loch Ness Monster?
Yes, because that's the one where if the Loch Ness Monster is real and he's just misunderstood, he's actually friendly, like the world needs to know about it. And so he would be the one that makes his way back through the cryptid. And
he immediately starts campaigning for legalized Loch Ness marriage. Is what he wants. It's the next move.
Don't Loch Ness with my rights.
Don't Loch Ness with my rights. Is what the poster board would say.
Oh, yeah. All over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think at the heart of this, there is a beautiful love story.
Between one man and his monster.
checking all the boxes.
Yes. It's hard to define.
Like genres here.
Before we wrap up here, I'm going to do the social media stuff again. You remember, you can listen on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Music, anywhere you get podcasts. Watch our live streams on Twitch and YouTube. Hang out in the chat. Help us write the movie. Please check us out on social media. We're on most platforms: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. It's the best way to find out when we'll be recording our next live stream, and you can find all those links at linktree/WWFTpod. I like it. It was a roller coaster. Like I said, hard to define.
Yeah. A lot of comedy, a little mystery.
Really blurred the lines of how much of our riffing would make it into a movie like this. Because sometimes when we talk serious movies, we make a lot of jokes, but
Yeah.
the movie itself, it's like, okay, obviously,
Yep.
we're not going to have the joke.
This
But-
is serious, but we're silly.
But this one, it's almost like, and I know it's not at all the same, but it kind of reminds me of like, you ever seen Cabin in the Woods?
Yeah.
It's a horror movie.
Yeah.
There's a horror movie that they kind of promoted it as a horror movie. But when you watch it, you're actually like, this is a very funny, genius comedy.
Tongue in cheek. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, and I feel like this would kind of be that, where you have very tense moments, but overall, it's the whole premise is silly. It's a comedy, whatever. But yes, I see it getting like serious and dark and maybe even scary at times.
Yeah. Yep, that's kind of how I saw it. Like I said, I was writing it, and it started as a comedy with just this funny idea, and then as I wrote it, it just kind of changed on me.
So, no backstory into the host of the party, the billionaire?
No, I kind of like leaving it mysterious.
He's just some guy that his speech was enough. That's all we get of him?
Yep, basically.
Okay.
And you know what? Maybe this is open to sequels, because like that was just one World Cryptozoology Summit. Maybe there's more.
What happened in the void of the moth or the Bat Boy? Do you guys remember Bat Boy?
I remember.
I'm not
the
familiar with that
tabloids.
story. I don't
So
know.
in the 90s, there was Weekly World News. You'd see it in the grocery store checkout lines. And that was your big tabloid. And it was like Abraham Lincoln was a woman. And it would say Abraham Lincoln or something, And there was the wild ones. But they also had a show late night on, I want to say, E! Entertainment Channel or something. And I remember seeing Bat Boy at the grocery store on a cover and being like, oh, I was a little kid. And then late night, I turned on E! And they had footage of, allegedly, they had a Bat Boy in like a enclosure. And he ran in circles enough times that he could actually fly over the wall and escaped. And that was supposed to be the big scare, is that like Bat Boy is real. You just saw it. And also, he's escaped. So
He's
deal with
out
that.
there.
Yeah. So...
All right. I think we finished this as much as we could.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I want to say we did it. So,
I enjoyed that. That was good.
Yeah.
oh,
It was a fun ride. So, well,
well, check us out. Make sure to like, follow, share. Definitely tell a friend if you liked it. And we're gonna get out of here.
thanks for joining us.